Guys, look at the sky. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Alright, what's up guys? Don't mind my voice. I am not on anything. I just don't know why it's a little bit deep. It's officially fall. Like, what are my intros, honestly? But that being said, it's fall weather, so I have my 3 eggs and my spinach with hot sauce, and we ran out of tomato basil rice cakes, so I'm a little bit sad about that, except for the fact that I have been putting off because I'm so routine. Sometimes it's good when life throws me a curveball so I can get out of it. I have been wanting to make pear oatmeal so bad, and it's such a fall vibe. So I have my 40 grams of oats and then some, it's basically like nutmeg, cinnamon, and allspice in there for right now. And then I'm gonna add a pear, and then I'm gonna have a little honey. So carb overload. I kind of wish I was training legs today, but I trained legs yesterday, so we're gonna hit bench today. I've switched to sticking mainly to LA Fitness just because it's just so much more convenient. My other gym was like 20 minutes away on one of like the busiest highways, and if you know Jersey, you know Jersey traffic, and it was just kind of getting inconvenient for me. I love Jill's, shout out to her. Listen to her while I'm making my breakfast. Sometimes I was listening to Jay Shetty lately. I've been really into him, and just like some self-help YouTube first thing in the morning, or just some perspective shift to give me some good energy. Oh, and then I have this coffee. I can't wait for the basic AF pumpkin spice coffee over cardio flavor to arrive, but until then I've been using this Cali Cafe Cinna Spice, and it's giving all the fall vibes as well. I honestly didn't think I would like it, but it kind of tastes like a chai latte, kind of tastes like chai tea, so woo! This is my oatmeal. Hopefully it tastes good. I put raisins in it too. I'm pretty excited. Okay, so oddly enough, I got my blood work done because for my level 2 nutrition cert that I'm taking, we had to. And listen, as a fitness person, whatever you want to say, I literally haven't gone to the doctor in 2 years because I've been having trouble finding a doctor. So I actually needed this. But I had high MCV and low RDW. So I looked it up, and we're going to go over our blood panels in class, but obviously when you see that, I get scared. I get afraid if I'm not the epitome of health. So I realized that it was like, it might be anemia, low iron, or it could be low folate, low B12. So funny, right? In my last video, I was saying like, oh, I avoid B12 because of my acne and my skin, because I feel like it breaks me out. But here we are today. We are going to take my vitamins, and I have a B complex. Oh shit, god damn it. Okay, all right. So I have a B complex that I'm going to take with folate. So I'm going to take it and see if that helps me feel better. Otherwise, maybe it's iron, and then I'm going to try to eat more iron-rich foods. So we'll see. Hopefully this helps. Otherwise, I'll keep you updated. That's why it's important to get your blood work done and also kind of figure out what your baseline is to see like when you are in a healthy place, what do your levels look like in case that shifts and changes. Because even if things are in that normal range, sometimes for you, your normal may be higher or lower or different, and then when you get your blood work done again, you can realize like, oh, okay, there's been a shift here, and you can start putting pieces together, which is pretty cool. I don't know why I like insist on just like getting in front of a camera before I've literally woken up or had coffee or anything, because I question myself when I play it back, but it's fine, we're here. Let's see if this tastes like shit. I think I was a little heavy on the nutmeg. Okay, also like side note, this flavor chocolate in Beams Greens is so good. Sun is beaming and we're glowing. I'm gonna wear this. We're shifting to fall colors. So I have this taupe, I think this is the deep taupe in Honor Active with the really burnt orange, I think, with the Timeless shorts, which I love. I feel like the Timeless just like sculpts the glutes like really, really well. So I'm a big fan. Guys, I need to be like really like for real with you and like vulnerable and honest. But first of all, this lighting is really cool. But I am having a hard time in my body because granted I'm eating a shit ton. I'm lifting a lot, but I am not lean anymore. Like I'm not as lean as I was. So I'm putting on some more shape and it's a little bit hard for me. So this is kind of like where I'm rocking. I weighed myself yesterday and I was like 127, which is crazy because I was like 120. So it's a little bit of a mind fuck. I know a lot of it is I've been very on top of my creatine, so there's gonna be some weight there. I'm just eating more. Like I am eating a lot, and I love the appetite that I have. Like it's so crazy that I'm able to eat so much. For me, my biggest insecurity is my stomach. So I'm sucking in a little bit, but like it's just like hard for me. And obviously I'm wearing like high rise, but like my stomach is, it's a stomach, and it's crazy because like your body dysmorphia is wild because for me, unless my stomach is like completely flat, like I struggle. So yeah, just no mean comments, please. I understand that like me putting on weight is like, oh, you know, people are like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, shut up. Like, but it's something I struggle with, especially coming from like a disordered eating background. So just I'm trying to be vulnerable so you guys can like like I feel you guys because I understand a lot of my clients and people who write in talk about like the struggle of going through a bulking stage, a growing stage, and I understand and let you know like I go through the same shit. And it is hard for me. So please don't discredit that. So yeah. But I will say with being, you know, warmer or colder weather and putting on some size, I like how the weather changes because I can embrace different outfits and I love layering pieces. And you know, if you catch me in the gym with less sports bras and then crop tops and more long sleeves and hoodies and shit, you know, it's the vibe. These mellow tops are literally like the reason I freaking live lately. And I don't even necessarily know if they're meant for working out because they are so not sweat proof, it's not even funny. I love them though. Like, I love wearing them in the gym. And they're cheap. They're probably one of the cheaper things you can buy on the website. Not that Honor is like super expensive, but they are like relatively cheap. I think they're like $30 and they're so cute and they just hug your skin. Okay, so they didn't have any more of the full length, but I like the full length better. This one's a crop, so it'll come up a little bit. I like it more when it fully like covers, but I think it looks really cute and I'm a fan. Like the upper body is just like so accentuated in it. And I don't know, I feel like a unit lately. Like I feel like I'm like a presence. I better be putting up weight. That's all I have to say. If I'm eating good, I'm getting thick, I gotta fucking put up weight because something's gotta give. I gotta compensate with something. Plus, it's the season for the glutes to thrive and grow and get nice and thick. So we'll hopefully, if my glutes better get freaking juicy or else it's not worth it. Just kidding. One of the biggest things that I have been realizing on my own like self-growth journey and like trying to be more authentic to myself and coming back to myself, I kind of like framing it instead of finding myself of like coming back to yourself and like being who you were as a kid and before the world told you who you should be and just really understanding like who am I at my core, is just like valuing authenticity so much too, is realizing that I can show up exactly as I am in every relationship as the same person, whereas growing up I had always tried to fit a mold to be someone else to fit other people's needs. Chronic people pleaser. And honestly, it's really just something I kind of did to myself. Like, you know, it's it's no one else's fault, really. It's just kind of like the way I internalized things and interpreted the world and how I was supposed to act and be. Like, I would genuinely, like, have anxiety if I was integrating different people, because I was like, I act different with different people because I'm trying to make them happy, and I'm always stressed, like, being around different people. And I was talking to my friend, and we were saying something like, whereas if we were to have our friends all, like, meet and be together, it would be so fine because I would trust that I would be the same person with all of them. So I don't know, I just think it's a really freeing feeling to finally just show up as my authentic self. Even like with my parents, I'm trying to be more of myself. I've always kind of like sheltered myself off, or like didn't show up as me fully. Like, I felt like my parents didn't even know me, and that was my own thing because I just kind of shut them out, and I felt like they wouldn't accept me if they knew me for who I really was. And it was the same thing with my friendships and relationships. It was like, if I was completely, entirely myself, I felt like I wouldn't be accepted and I'd be rejected by people, which is crazy because, yeah, you're going to be rejected by people who really aren't your people. And if people don't accept you for who you are at your core, then they're not your people and you shouldn't be around them. So, like, really, you're only hurting yourself by choosing to stay in situations and be in relationships where you're not being authentic to you, and you only retell yourself that you're only as good as what other people want you to be. You put your self-worth and validation in other people's hands, and that's super detrimental to your confidence and to your self-worth, and self-esteem. So, and I think a big part of what has helped me is like learning how to detach from the outcome and truly being okay with losing people, and really being okay with people not liking me for the first time ever, and being okay with things not working out the way I initially expected them to, or felt like they should work out. I feel like so much of my life is me like trying to, I think, have that control, and now I'm finally releasing that control of where I'm just like, well, whatever like happens, and just kind of like letting life flow. And I think a big part of detaching from the outcome is like realizing like, okay, well, if this relationship fades or if I lose this person, like, I'm okay because I have me and I trust me and I have my back, and I know I'll find the right people that fit with me, versus before I would be so like scared of like losing people, because that fueled my self-worth as if people found me worthy, right? If people liked me. And now I'm finally like, well, do I like me? Like, do I like who I am? Because that's super important for me, finding the right people in the right relationships and choosing the right people that actually, I wonder, do I actually like them, right? Like, do I want to be around them? Because if I actually like being around these people and I can show up exactly as myself, that's a true, genuine connection and a relationship that's going to feel really good to me. And I think a big thing that's been helping me lately as well is kind of being very curious about why I feel the way I feel about things. Like, instead of like judging myself for having feelings or feeling some type of way and kind of dismissing it and telling myself I shouldn't feel that way, I kind of think, oh, that's an interesting thought. Like, I wonder why I feel this way about this person, situation, whatever. And I really like to journal about it too. It kind of helps a lot of things come up for me. And something that's been helpful too, like if I feel like I'm experiencing more anxiety than usual, or experiencing like just a plethora of emotions that are circling around in my brain, I like to dump all of that onto a journal and a paper and write it all out. And then I will invite logic in to kind of help myself work through it. But if I'm constantly trying to use logic to dismiss my feelings or tell myself I don't feel that or push it away, the feelings come on 10 times stronger, and the anxiety, I feel like, can build up a lot. So if I can displace it and put it somewhere else, let me feel all of it, and then kind of invite logic to self-soothe myself, that's been a huge help for me to learning how to self-regulate for the first time, and not being codependent and needing other people to do it for me, right? And that's also not fair to other people if I'm putting that on them. So I think learning how to self-regulate has also helped me realize that I know how to, it's helping me learn how to trust myself for the first time ever. And along with like setting boundaries with people and just being okay with who I am. I know I'm a sensitive person. It's being okay with that, but also being able to like work through my sensitivities and not expect other people to know how I want to be treated. But to really vocalize and communicate and explain, what my boundaries are, how certain situations made me feel, and not putting the responsibility on them to make me feel better, but helping myself feel better and just creating an awareness. And it creates better relationships when you can create that boundary and talk about how you feel without being very snippy. Because I think for me, I would be really irritable, like really moody and irritable, because I didn't know how to express my feelings and my emotions, because it was easier to be mad and bitchy and snippy than it was to be vulnerable and tell people truly like that I was hurting or how I was really feeling deep down inside. So that's been different, and that's been something that I've been working on as well. So it's been really good. I feel like overall I have more of like a calmness to me, and I'm really embracing more of like this softer energy where I can just be vulnerable and be myself, because that has been, I realized, like one of the hardest things ever was for me to build true intimacy and vulnerability in my relationships. And then I also touched upon this in the last video of how to get over my breakup, but just like being able to spin everything in your favor and trust that like it's gonna work out for you no matter what. Because if you move with genuine intentions and authenticity, you can't lose, right? Shit starts to go down when you start moving in ways where you feel like you're lying to yourself, you're betraying yourself, or lying to other people, right? Like not showing up as you. That's when stuff starts to really go haywire. But if you could just show up and be like, yes, this is how I feel truly, and not care if it doesn't suit someone else, if it makes other people uncomfortable, if it doesn't fit their needs, like it's okay to take up space. It's okay to have your own opinions. It's okay to be you, right? And you don't need to be anything else for anyone other than yourself. And trying to be yourself is going to create better connections and relationships, because then you're able to put out how you're truly feeling. And when someone else accepts you for who you are, you guys are able to talk about it and work through it and figure out a boundary for you and them that makes sense, so that way you guys can continue to build and have the stronger relationship that you grow from. And kind of going over like just showing up authentically as myself in literally all these relationships, right, is realizing too, like, my life doesn't need to look a certain way. I think I put so much pressure on trying to have this like perfect life, or trying to fit societal expectations of like what my life should look like so I can accept myself. Like, oh, if I, like make this amount of money, then I think I'm worthy. Or if I have a certain kind of career or a certain kind of job, like certain things will make me feel like, okay, like I'm accepted. But it's really just like your life should be whatever you want it to be. And that's okay. And it may look completely different than mine. And I think setting up like ideally what you want to get out of life, no matter how different it is from society or societal expectations, from what your parents want from you, from what you think others want from you, but genuinely, like, if you ask yourself, like, what would make you happy? Like, what would make you be like, I am so happy with this life that I created for myself. I have everything that I want. Like, this is what I really want. That is huge, because it's not going to look the same for everyone. And I think for me, I just would judge myself if I didn't have this life that looked so ideal to society, or for the way that I was raised or grew up, and what I thought other people had expectations of how it should look. And I think that was really hard for me, but I'm finally like breaking out of it and realizing like I don't need to fit into certain labels. I don't need to fit into certain boxes. I can be a bunch of different things, and I can still kick ass at all of them. And it's okay if it's completely different than the lifestyle that majority of people live. So that's kind of something that's been helping me too, is just being at peace again with just being myself, and being okay with the kind of life that I create for myself and trusting myself and not needing someone else to guide me to make decisions, but trusting like, okay, if I just have to make a decision, right? And being able to be like, I'll be able to learn from it. Whatever this decision is, I'm going to grow from it, and that's part of my journey. And I think so much of being an indecisive person and being confused and self-conscious and things like that was like, I would rely on my boyfriends especially, right? Like, so I could trust someone to help me make decisions because I felt like I couldn't trust myself to make them, or I felt like I would always make the wrong choice and the wrong decision. But it's really just there is not necessarily always a right or wrong decision. They're just decisions and what you make out of it and how you choose to go about life. And if you can grow from it and learn, it's okay if you're constantly redirected in a different direction. You just have to trust yourself to make a decisive decision and roll with it. And that's kind of like what I've been doing. Um, and really just trying to learn how to trust myself again. And I know it's a little bit messy and a little bit sloppy, but this is just like my self-growth journey of me trying to figure myself out. And just a weird time in your 20s, your mid-20s, where I feel like you're finally starting to feel more like an adult and less like a kid, and but you're still young and you're still just trying to figure yourself out and life out. So yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at right now.